All right, let's get right into it. Welcome to part 1 of our Workplace Safety Explainer on working with chemicals. Now, whether you're a site worker, an operator, a supervisor, an engineer, or a contractor working right here in Malaysia, this explainer was made specifically for you. Today, we're going to embrace the true Malaysian spirit of gotong royong, working together as a community to make absolutely sure everyone understands chemical hazards. Because look, at the end of the day, our ultimate goal isn't just about getting the job done. It's about making sure every single one of us goes safely home to our families. So let's get started.
To really put things into perspective, let's look at the sheer scale of what we're actually dealing with here. Over 30,000 hazardous chemicals are actively regulated under Malaysia's Chemical Hazards Regulations 2000 and OSHA 1994. Honestly, that is a staggering figure. Whether you're in the petroleum sector working with Petronas or Shell, or you're manufacturing rubber gloves, assembling electronics over in Penang, or handling fertilizers in the palm oil plantations, chemicals are just a daily reality. But here's the catch. Familiarity can easily breed complacency. So many of us handle these substances day in and day out without truly understanding the invisible dangers right in front of us.
And this number right here brilliantly illustrates exactly what's at stake. In 2022 alone, there were 312 occupational chemical poisoning cases officially reported to DASH Malaysia. That's 312 of our fellow workers who suffered directly because of a chemical hazard. It's a harsh reminder that handling these substances blindly isn't just risky. It has real, life-altering consequences for you and your family. Which is exactly why proper, crystal-clear safety training isn't just a compliance checkbox. It's an absolute necessity for everyone on the floor.
Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We'll be looking at the 9 GHS pictograms, reading chemical labels, the safety data sheet, and finally, the COSH hierarchy of controls.
Let's dive right into Section 1, the 9 GHS pictograms.
So, Malaysia adopted the Globally Harmonized System, or GHS, through DASH. There are 9 distinct visual warning signs, or pictograms, that we all need to be able to recognize instantly. Let's start with the first 3. First up is tengkorak, the skull and crossbones. This means acute toxicity. Basically, it's a massive red flag that a single exposure, think cyanide or certain heavy-duty pesticides, could cause serious injury or even death. Next is api, the flame, which simply means flammable. Think petrol or LPG. Keep these far, far away from any sparks. And the third one is api atas bulatan, the flame over a circle. This is an oxidizer, like bleach. What it does is release oxygen, meaning it will intensely feed a fire if one manages to start. Moving right along, we have lutupan, the exploding bomb. This tells you a chemical is explosive or highly unstable, so handle it with extreme care. Then we have the cylinder gas, representing pressurized gas. Listen, if a cylinder of compressed air or acetylene gets heated, damaged, or starts leaking, it can explode violently. No joke. And finally, keep a very close eye out for kakasan. This is the corrosion pictogram. It's a critical warning that the substance, like sulfuric acid or caustic soda, will instantly cause severe, permanent burns to your skin or your eyes the second it makes contact.
Rounding out the final 3 pictograms, we're looking at health and the environment. First is tanda seru, the exclamation mark. This covers irritants, stuff that might give you a nasty rash, irritate your eyes, or just make you feel really dizzy. Then there's bahaya kesehatan, the health hazard symbol showing a damaged person. Now this one is for the serious long-term hidden harms. We're talking cancer, organ damage, or chronic respiratory issues from things like asbestos or benzene. Lastly, we have alam sakir tar, the dead tree and fish. This tells you the chemical is highly toxic to our local environment and aquatic life, meaning under no circumstances should it ever be poured down a regular drain.
All right, let's move on to Section 2, reading chemical labels.
What's really interesting about chemical labels is how they instantly signal the severity of what's inside using just one word. You're going to see either danger, which is bahaya, or warning, which is amaran. Danger means exactly what it sounds like. You are facing a severe hazard category that requires extreme precaution. Warning, on the other hand, indicates a slightly lower immediate risk, but make no mistake, it is still serious and demands careful handling. So always check that signal word first.
Every legally compliant label is equipped with 5 crucial tools to protect you. Obviously, we start with the product name and supplier info so you know exactly what you're holding and who made it. Next is that signal word we just talked about. Then comes the hazard pictograms for that quick visual cue.
After that, we have the hazard statements, or H codes. These are great because they describe exactly how the chemical can hurt you, like stating highly flammable liquid or may cause cancer. And finally, we have the precautionary statements, or P codes. These are your actual action steps. They tell you precisely what protective actions to take, like wear protective gloves or do not breathe vapors.
And listen, the real-world consequences of missing these details can be absolutely devastating. Let me give you a real case from a factory in Selangor back in 2021. A worker was handling a drum of sulfuric acid solution. The problem? The label was only printed in English. It clearly showed the corrosion pictogram, sure, but the worker didn't understand the word corrosive and couldn't read the P-code instructions that explicitly told him to wear chemical-resistant gloves. During a routine transfer, the acid splashed directly onto his bare hands. He suffered terrible second-degree chemical burns and lost 3 weeks of work, all because of a language barrier.
That tragic incident proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that understanding labels isn't just optional, it is a vital necessity. The golden rule here is simple. All chemical labels must be understood by all workers who handle them, period. Through the Malaysian spirit of tolong menolong, helping one another out, employers have to ensure training is provided in a language every single worker actually understands. And hey, if you ever see a colleague struggling to read a label, step in, help them out. Your quick intervention could literally save them from a life-altering injury. Okay, let's jump into Section 3, the Safety Data Sheet. So, under the law, employers are required to have a safety data sheet, or SDS, for every single hazardous chemical in the workplace, and it absolutely must be accessible to you. Now, an SDS actually has 16 sections in total, which is a lot to digest, but as a worker, you really just need to prioritize 4 of them. First, check Section 2 to identify the specific hazards. Then, and this is absolutely crucial, read Section 4 for first aid measures before an emergency strikes. Trust me, you do not want to be trying to skim an SDS for the first time while someone is screaming with chemical burns. Next, check Section 7 for safe storage rules, which, by the way, is the exact same information Bamba Malaysia relies on if they ever have to respond to a fire at your facility. And finally, look at Section 8 every single day to know exactly what personal protective equipment, or PPE, is mandatory for your shift.
Which brings us to our final topic, Section 4, the KOSH hierarchy of controls. The control of substances hazardous to health, known as KOSH, gives us a brilliant defense strategy ranked from the absolute best solution down to our very last resort. Let's walk through it. Step 1, elimination. Can we literally just stop using this dangerous chemical altogether? If not, we move to Step 2, substitution. Can we swap it out for something safer? Like, say, using a water-based paint instead of a highly toxic solvent. Step 3 is engineering controls. This means physically changing the workspace, like installing fume cupboards or exhaust ventilation to suck harmful vapors away before you can even breathe them in. Step 4 covers administrative controls. These are our workplace rules, safe work procedures, proper training, and rotating shifts so nobody is exposed for too long. And finally, Step 5, PPE. Gloves, goggles, respirators. Now, notice how PPE is sitting right at the very bottom? That's because it is your absolute last line of defense when everything else fails.
All right, that brings us to the end of Part 1. We've covered the GHS pictograms, how to properly read labels, navigating the SDS, and the KOSH hierarchy of controls. But before we get into safe handling and emergency response in Part 2 of this explainer, I really want you to ask yourself a question. When you go back to your workstation today, take a good look at the chemicals around you. Do you truly know the hazards hiding in those containers? Are you actually reading the signal words? Are you using the right controls and wearing the proper PPE? Remember, your responsibility isn't just to your employer, it's to yourself and to your family waiting for you to come home safely. Stay aware, stay safe, and I will see you in Part 2.
Welcome back to Part 2 of our Workplace Chemical Safety Explainer. Look, we knocked out the background in Part 1, so we're skipping the preamble today. Your health, your safety, literally your life, depends on what we're about to cover.
All right, let's get straight to work. We are completely ditching the theory today. Instead, we're zooming in on the immediate, practical, hands-on actions you've got to take on the floor every single day in your Malaysian workplace. Just the pure mechanics of keeping yourself safe.
So, we operate on 6 golden rules of chemical handling here. Number 1, absolutely no eating, drinking, or smoking near chemicals. Seriously, contamination from your hands right to your mouth is a massive exposure route. Number 2, always inspect and wear the specific PPE listed in your safety data sheet. And 3, never ever mix unknown substances. I mean, incompatible chemicals don't just fizz like a science experiment. They can trigger violent explosions or release highly toxic gases. Not something you want to mess with.
Now, rules 4 through 6 are really all about control. Rule 4, keep your containers tightly closed when you're not actively using them.
This stops hazardous vapors from escaping and building up into serious fire risks. Rule 5. Always work in well-ventilated areas. Use extraction fans or fume hoods if natural airflow just isn't cutting it. And finally, Rule 6. Ensure every single container is crystal clearly labeled. Never use an unlabeled container. If you transfer a chemical, label it right that second.
Okay, moving into our first major section, correct PPE, and how to choose and use the exact right protection.
Let's talk about your hands for a second. Never assume your standard nitrile or neoprene gloves are going to protect you forever. Every single glove out there has what's called a breakthrough time. Think of it like a ticking clock. If your glove is rated for, say, 60 minutes of contact, you absolutely must change it before those 60 minutes are up, even if the glove looks totally fine on the outside. If you don't, the chemical literally seeps right through the material and directly onto your skin.
And when it comes to eye protection, there is a massive difference between spectacles and goggles. Standard safety spectacles leave these really dangerous gaps around the top, bottom, and sides of your eyes. So whenever there's any risk of a liquid chemical splash, you must wear safety goggles. Why? Because they seal completely around your eyes to physically block those liquids. Oh, and always pair them with your chemical-resistant apron or coverall when you're handling corrosives.
Now here is a super common and honestly dangerous misconception on the floor. An N95 dust mask is entirely useless against chemical vapors or gases. It only stops solid particles. To actually protect your lungs, you've got to use a proper half-face or full-face respirator with chemical cartridges matched exactly to your specific hazard, like organic vapors or acid gases. And hey, quick reminder, an expired cartridge provides absolutely zero protection.
Next up, let's look at chemical storage, specifically the Malaysian legal requirements.
Under the Chemical Hazards Regulations 2000, you are legally required to physically separate incompatible chemicals. So keep your acids far away from your bases and definitely keep oxidizers away from flammables. They also need to be a minimum of 3 meters away from any ignition sources. Plus, your storage area must have secondary containment bunding that can hold 110% of the largest container's volume. Just in case there's a catastrophic leak, you're covered.
And look, ignoring these rules causes real, tangible devastation. Just look at this case study from a 2020 warehouse fire in Shah Alam. Flammable solvents were stored right next to electrical equipment. A single fault ignited the vapors, and it burned for 6 solid hours. It caused 3.2 million ringgit in damage and injured 4 firefighters. The investigation proved it happened exactly because they lacked separation, had no secondary containment, and had terrible ventilation.
So what if a spill actually happens? You need to know your limits instantly. If it's a small spill, you can manage it safely. Alert your team, throw on your full PPE, use absorbents like sand or vermiculite working from the outside edges inward, bag the waste, and report it. But for a large spill, do not play the hero. Evacuate the area immediately, raise the alarm, and call Bamba at 994 and the Malaysia Poison Center at 1-800-88-9999. This brings us to chemical emergency response, where time is absolutely critical. If there's a chemical splash, the magic number you need to remember is 15. If you suffer a splash to your eyes or skin, you must immediately get to a tap or eye wash station and flush the area with clean, running water for a minimum of 15 continuous minutes. Time it, don't just guess. And whatever you do, don't rub it. Keep those eyelids held wide open and let the water dilute the hazard. Seriously, ask yourself right now, do you know exactly where the eye wash stations are in your specific work area? Now, if a colleague inhales toxic chemical fumes, move them to fresh air instantly. Get them away from the source. Dial 999 for emergency services and call the Poison Center. Now listen closely to this rule because it totally goes against human instinct. Never give the victim food or water unless you are directly advised to do so by the Poison Center professionals.
All right, let's talk about the aftermath. Lawful chemical waste disposal.
Chemical waste in Malaysia is strictly regulated under the Environmental Quality Act 1974. It's officially classified as scheduled waste. Pouring it down the drain, into the sewer, or just tossing it in regular rubbish bins isn't just a bad idea. It is a severe criminal offense. It has to be handled by licensed contractors. Doing this illegally can literally land you in prison or hit you with a staggering 500,000 ringgit fine. No joke.
Okay, wrapping things up with our training assessment prep. Let's test your knowledge.
Question 1. If you see the GHS corrosion pictogram, what's it actually telling you? Well, it indicates the chemical causes severe skin burns and serious eye damage. That means your chemical-resistant gloves, your fully sealed splash goggles, and your apron, absolutely non-negotiable.
Moving on, question 2. Exactly how long must you flush a chemical splash to the eye with water? Just like we emphasized earlier, it's 15 continuous minutes at the nearest eye wash station, and you've got to hold those eyelids open so the water can actually get in there and do its job.
And question 3. What is breakthrough time for chemical gloves and why should you even care? Basically, it's the exact time frame it takes for a chemical to physically penetrate your glove material. It's huge because you must replace those gloves before that specific time expires, even if the glove looks completely fine on the outside.
All right, just a heads up, you must now complete your written assessment. It's 10 multiple choice questions and you need a 70% to pass, so that's 7 out of 10. If you don't hit that 70%, you'll need to thoroughly review this module and resit the test on a different day. Your passing score will be officially recorded in your personal OSH training file as legally required under OSHA 1994. You've got this. Just take your time and think through the safety mechanics we've covered today.
Look, chemicals are just a part of everyday work in Malaysia. From our factories, to our offices, to construction sites, they are incredible tools, but they demand absolute respect. Your health, and really the future you're building for your family, heavily depend on the split-second choices you make about chemical handling on the job every single day.
So the question is, are you fully prepared to handle your materials safely on your next shift? Keep your eyes open, wear your gear correctly, and stick to the rules. Work safe, stay safe, and protect each other.